Good evening.
Hello. Welcome to the 2021 People's Food Co-op Annual Meeting. First, we're going to review a little bit about how the Zoom webinar thing works. So first, let me say that the meeting is being recorded, and we plan to post it on the PFC website in the next few weeks following the meeting for any owners that are unable to attend. So let's go through some of the icons you can see at the bottom of your screen. So the first one is to use the Q&A to be able to ask questions. And you can go ahead and click on that icon, and Ann Mull, who's on the conference call, will be keeping her eye on that as well. If it's a question that can be immediately answered, she'll try her best to get to that and handle it. If it's questions for the board or our CEO, they'll be flagged and be answered at the end of the meeting. Next, if you want to make a comment for any reason, you can go ahead and click on the chat icon down below. Be sure to select who you want to send your message to. You can send it to the PFC board and staff by selecting the all panelists option, or pick a particular person or everyone there. In just a little bit, we're going to be launching a poll where you can vote to approve the board meeting, the agenda for it. And we encourage everybody to participate. It's not mandatory. A little box will appear on your screen, and then you can pick your answer and just hit submit. If at any point you're having issues and you don't know what's going on, just go ahead and click on the raise your hand icon in the bottom, and you'll be able to, we'll respond to you in a second. And now for the fun stuff. We're going to do a $50 raffle for the PFC. And all you need to do is type your member number into that chat window we just discussed and send it to the panelists, but you can also send it to everybody if you'd like. We'll write down the numbers and drop them into a hat, or just keep them. And then we'll select 2 winners at the end. And so now, without any further ado, let me please welcome our board president, Verna Smith.
Simon.
Hi, everyone. It's actually Verna Simon. That's okay. Kind of like Paul
sorry,
Simon.
sorry, Verna. I was blanking on that. No worries. Sorry about that, Verna.
No, that's okay. That's okay. It started with an S. There's an I in there, so it's all close.
It's live. It's live here.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for logging on with us tonight. I'm going to kind of get going on the mission statement. The mission of the People's Food Co-op is working together to build a sustainable community while treating all people with kindness and fairness. And I'm going to continue on with that with our global ends for the People's Food Co-op specifically, and then how they tie into our 8 cooperative principles. So global ends, the People's Food Co-op global ends are people working together to educate, expand, empower, and engage a community centered on food, health, and sustainability, to provide high quality, safe food at fair prices with an emphasis on local, organic, fair traded, and natural goods, and to achieve and maintain profitability while operating in accordance with the 8 cooperative principles. And these cooperative principles are not just for our co-op, but most co-ops do follow these same principles. These are kind of what co-ops do. So the 8 cooperative principles are voluntary and open membership, democratic member control, which you're being a part of by logging on to this tonight. Thank you very much. Members' economic participation, autonomy and independence, education, training, and information, cooperation among cooperatives, concern for community, and respect for diversity. And so I do hope that as when you see these later and slides later and the presentations later on the website, you can go to the website and see these as well, that you kind of take this in, into account when you think about why you're an owner at the People's Food Co-op, that all of these things matter to us. And so I hope they really matter to you as well, and that you appreciate all of these principles, these ends, and our mission overall. Okay, excellent. So the agenda is up, and you can look over it to get an idea for what the night is going to be like, what we have in store. And in probably just a few seconds, we're going to pull up a poll just to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Please vote if you'd like to. And I think everybody can see that the agenda has been approved. Thank you all very much. Okay, so we're going to move on to the secretary's report. Andrea Nison. Thank
you, Verna. So the board started out this year by adding new board members from the election. We added Peter, Johanna, and Sarah. We also appointed Elizabeth to a vacant board seat. Oh, there's their lovely pictures. The 4 new board members joined the veterans, Verna, Meredith, Hunter, and myself. And then we also appointed Diane to our board in February. We were particularly interested in her financial expertise, but unfortunately she resigned in May of this year. This year we have 3 board seats to fill during the election to bring our board up to the traditional 9 members. For our board activities in 2021, we started the year by helping the new board members become acclimated by having them attend a full day session aimed at providing foundational information about finances and policy governance. Early in the year, we also redesigned our board committees. We assigned members to those committees and appointed chairs of the various committees. We found throughout the year that the heavy lifting is really done by our committees and not in the board meetings itself. A new committee for this year was our finance committee. We know that in 2022, the strategy needs to be on increasing sales by increasing members, driving traffic and basket sizes, also through promotions and just general awareness of what the co-op has to offer in our communities. You'll soon hear about a wonderful new e-shopping program, which we're confident is going to be a success for 2022. The PFC board is helping our GM drive strategy to ensure the margin allows the PFC to live out our mission. Now in December, we're preparing for the new board composition in 2022, and we'll continue to focus on finances as well as our owner engagement and also community involvement. The PFC board is committed to supporting our general manager and working on behalf of our owners as we carry out the mission of the People's Food Co-op. And now I'm going to turn it over to Lizzie for the financial report.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am very grateful for our owners who have decided to spend a little time learning more about the history and outlook of the co-op. And I wish that we could be talking in person, but I do welcome your questions and your feedback and hope that we can at least see each other in the stores and be able to share our celebration that way. So I'm Lizzie Haywood. I'm the CEO for People's Food Co-op, and I actually am stepping in at this moment for Peter Gorski. He was intending to give the treasurer's report from the board, but he at the last minute was not able to make it, so I'm going to take that on and then also be able to give an operations report for you this evening. And I want to also recognize our board. What we've accomplished this year has certainly been with the support of this board of directors, and they have been working through a variety of changes that have been coming through from the pandemic and helping our organization respond. And of course, all of our success is also coming with the efforts of our staff and the creativity and resiliency and belief in our mission that our team has. And I am very, very grateful to be working with this team of staff members and with this board at the co-op. For the year that ended on September 26th, People's Food Co-op reported $21.78 million in sales and just over $131,000 net income. Both of those were actually a decline in net sales and net income compared to the same period in 2020. That decline in revenue was driven by two things. The decline in revenue was driven by changing volumes in vitamins and body care and produce and meat sales. However, we had a large increase in volume for sales for deli and bakery compared to the previous year. And performance varied in our center store departments like refrigerated grocery and alcohol as people began returning to restaurants and not spending as much of their food dollars making food at home or spending time at home. The decline in income was entirely due to a comparison to a year in which we received the PPP grant. We did receive that and it was forgiven in our fiscal 20 year. Without the PPP, the income in that year, in this most recent year would have been actually a large increase over the previous. And in fact, the co-op achieved an operational profit this year of over $128,000, which was a significant increase and a significant benchmark over the previous year, with both stores producing a positive cash flow from operations. In the slide that you have in front of you, the solid black line indicates revenue increasing as the year went on, and as the co-op made progress in systems and cost control, which led to profitability. Next slide. There we go. And in this next slide, you can see the projection for revenue and the changes in revenue as over the last years. And we expect to see a profit in fiscal 22 as we did in 21, but growing. And we can see that we did become a leaner, stronger organization in this last year. We sold less, but we took good care of our obligations and made sure that we are able to be positioned for the future. So expect to see profitability as PFC continues to adapt in this post-pandemic new normal world. So in this next slide, you get a little history on the basket size or purchase per trip. And we've got it broken down in a couple ways. In the top half, you can see how the average basket or average purchase behaves if we group all of our shoppers together. And we can see from 2019 to 2021, a large variance that spiked during the height of the pandemic year. And we can also see in the lower half, the difference that it makes when the shopper is actually an owner and has an investment, an actual investment, and then just a desire to shop more at the co-op and put more of their food dollars toward People's Food Co-op. So we did see some regression of that large basket size in this last year, but it's not closer to the pre-pandemic levels. And that is because of the type of shopping that our customers are doing. In this next slide, we can see in all these shopping carts, a transaction count that changed significantly from the beginning of our fiscal year to the end. In the first half of the year, October through March, about 1,500 customers a day between our two stores. And that jumped up by about 16% in the last half of the year. And that really came again from a change in purchasing patterns by the shoppers as people adjusted to where they were working, where they were able to shop, what kinds of foods we were offering, and a comfortability with the safety of purchasing primarily deli foods at the co-op and at restaurants and things. So we see that change happen, and it's not the end of it. We really are still in the middle, unfortunately, of a world that is shifting a lot around shopping patterns, and they will continue to change, are somewhat unpredictable at this time, but the co-op will continue to respond in ways that that our customers are asking for, and try to get the sorts of foods and services that that our owners desire. So let's look at the equity of the co-op. And in this last year, we added our new owners added $55,000 in new equity. We have a total of just over $1.2 million in A and B shares, the voting and owner stock. So that's a fabulous addition of over 500 new owners in this last year. 55% of our balance sheet is funded by owner equity. And one great thing about this last year was the paying down of debt and some redemption of preferred shares. You can see in the lower right, principal paid on our single loan and preferred shares redemptions. Quick lesson for anyone interested in the preferred shares or Class C shares. These are non-voting shares that the co-op has sold in past fundraising drives, and C shares or preferred shares are counted as equity and not debt. So those strengthen the co-op's balance sheet. Owners who hold preferred shares can request a redemption of those Class C investments after it matures, and the board may choose to redeem or to decline that request. We have approximately 250 different investments in the 3 series of preferred shares at this time. And we can take a closer look at the equity versus the debt. In the column on the right side of your screen, you can see that the debt to equity ratio continues to be below 1, which means that more of our balance sheet is funded by equity than by debt. And this is a healthy place for a co-op to be, and shows a strong equity foundation. And in this next slide, with lots of lines and bars, we're showing where we have been. The orange bars show where we have been for the strength of our cash on hand, or in other words, the ability to have cash reserves, and then where we project to be in the future. The days cash on hand is a relatively simple metric that can be used to measure the co-op's ability to pay down whatever obligations we have. And obviously seeing that go up is something that we want to focus on. PFC is in a healthy cash position, and the metric of the days cash on hand, our board has chosen to require a higher standard than the grocery industry in general. And so we do remain well above that standard that our board has set. As we saw profits in the latter half of the year, we continued to build up our cash reserves, especially from the operational profit that I indicated earlier, and building cash while investing in new key equipment or new projects is our focus for this year. We really need to grow cash reserves and prepare for other future opportunities or challenges. And so I want to look at what our owners gained in this past year. First of all, I want to celebrate that we had over 500 more owners shopping in 2021 than we did in the previous year. So that was up by about 6.5% to 9,270 different household owners, different owner households were shopping. So really great to see that, and be very excited to see that grow to the 10,000 mark this year. Between all of the variety of savings and discounts that our owners had access to in this past year, the monthly specials like in produce or meat or bulk, which just started this summer, the wellness specials, which is a monthly discount option that owners have, and then the 5% monthly discount. If we average that across the households who are shopping, that is a savings of $32.15 per household. So that's great to see. Of course, some chose not to take advantage of those savings, and some got huge advantage as they really planned and had a lot of patronage with the co-op. So I'm very excited to be looking at another year of continued growth of what our owners gained as far as savings went. So in considering the patronage dividend option, I'll talk through the board's consideration of this. There's two considerations actually. One, does declaring a patronage dividend help reduce the tax liability for the co-op? And two, will the dividend be valuable to the owners? To the first question, I'm going to dive a little deeper here in the details of tax liability. So forgive me for just a moment, but to the first question, there's no additional protection against a tax liability due to a federal tax rule that the co-op could take advantage of called a net operating loss carryover. Using the full benefit of that NOL, there was no federal income tax liability that the co-op carried this year, even though we did achieve profit. And so declaring a dividend on owner patronage from that tax perspective wouldn't have made a difference in our liability. We do expect that net operating loss carryover will be used up fully during the next year. To the second question, the maximum possible payout would have been $66,000, paying 100% of that back to owners without retaining. If the board had chosen to retain a portion of that for shared equity on our balance sheet, retained equity, the paid dividend would have been less than $5 for most of our owner shoppers. That's sharing about $13,200. So for that reason, the board has instead decided to that instead of paying out the dividend in small amounts, profits and cash could be focused on growing the co-op's cash and focused on employees. PFC's most valuable asset, along with our owners, is our employees. And we want them to feel appreciated and paid adequately for their work. So the board supported a payment of a 401k matching contribution for the 2021 year and encouraged improvements in wages and benefits for all staff. So this means that the board believes that our owners want, instead of a small dollar amount distributed, want that invested in the care of the staff. We really are in a historically tight labor market. You've seen this nationwide. It's happening locally, and it's happening in our co-op. Recruiting and retaining employees is extremely difficult right now, and we need to remain competitive in our wages and benefits as the market becomes even tighter. We are still in the midst of this unpredictable pandemic world, and we want to stay prepared for anything that would come. Go to the next slide. So I'm going to move into some celebrations of our last year as well. Again, I'm really proud to say, and could not have done it without the work of a large team of people, that the co-op achieved a profitability level that was slightly higher than expected. And we had focused on Rochester being a cash producer, and it was. And so that is due to changes and many and difficult transitions in our systems and in our plan for how we staff, how we run our admin and our operations. And I'm just grateful for everyone to be working together on that. The celebration recognition of our staff is ongoing, and we've just finished a round of all staff meetings in this last week, and I just am again humbled and grateful for the team that we work with, because we have a lot of very creative, interested people who want to see the co-op grow and move forward, and have a lot of ideas to share in ways that we can be improving together. A few more of the details of successes in the last year is maintaining a safe and supportive workplace. And that was especially around flexible and practical COVID safety policies. I mentioned earlier, rebuilding of our prepared foods program. We saw that grow by between 33 and 50% over the previous year, depending on the department for prepared foods. And continually responding to changing customer needs and changing patterns, and working to redevelop a lot of programs, again, especially in the prepared foods. We have redesigned the offices in La Crosse to reduce overhead and bring our admin offices back into the store. In about 2012, we got access to an office suite near our downtown La Crosse store. The lease was up in August of this year, and we chose to do some remodeling in the La Crosse store and bring our staff back in. So we're just working between our two locations now, and reducing overhead that way. Some things coming up this year that and very soon, or actually happening right now, which I'm very excited about, includes the opening of our community room in La Crosse. Formerly, this was the Hackberries restaurant, and we have remodeled and repainted and opened that space as the community room. And when that is rented out or shared with the public, or is a space for co-op education or parties, we're going to be able to look out on the park and really enjoy a lovely space there. We also have a made-in-house sushi program coming to our Rochester store later this month, which means very, very soon. This is a program where we'll have a couple sushi chefs, and they will be working on site and working near the meat department, and providing a wide variety of sushi and boba tea also to our Rochester store. And we're excited to see that and test drive that, and possibly bring that to our La Crosse store in 22. As Andrea said earlier, we are developing an e-commerce program which will bring our online shopping, which we currently have in a Google form, into a platform that is convenient and transparent and easy to use, both for our shoppers and for our staff. And that's going to come along with an app, a mobile app that people can use to shop in the store or shop online. And we are really excited to be able to share more of what's happening at the co-op on a day-to-day basis. Whether people are choosing to shop online or just view what's happening at the co-op, we'll see both of those programs launch at the end of February. So our team is working on that right now. We'll also be replacing the point of sale system in both stores later in the spring, after the launch of the e-commerce. And also we're doing a program to add a digital invoice management, which one thing I'm very excited about with this is the reduction of paper and paper shuffling. So not only does it have a sustainable aspect, but it's also going to be a time-saving aspect for many, many staff members. A couple other things I'll highlight before moving into a quick overview of capital investments is we must continue to work on developing our supply chain. And this is not just to make sure we have backup supplies when they're out of stock in our primary suppliers, but to be seeking out and raising up suppliers from communities which have typically been marginalized. And this means a focus on finding suppliers which are owned by people of color, which are owned by veterans, by women, by LGBTQ, and making sure that in addition to the sustainability of the products that we have, and talking with our shoppers about that, that we are able to talk about and really show success in bringing the supplies from these people, this ownership, to the co-op and giving you, our shoppers, a chance to purchase those products. Last thing I'll go over is a little review of the capital investments, sneak peek at the capital investments we'll have this year. We are planning on about a $400,000 investment in capital projects this year. It's really important that we use this money wisely and improving the customer experience, improving the safety of the workplace, and increasing the efficiency or reducing workload for our team members is where we go when we're talking about these capital investments. So I mentioned replacing the register fixtures. That'll be the check stands, the metal check stands in La Crosse. The actual checkout computers, the point of sale computers in both stores will be replaced. An improvement on lighting in Rochester, that project is underway now, and improving, replacing equipment and doing general repair, especially on some of our coolers and freezers in the La Crosse store. With that, I think I will turn it back to Andrea. Thank you. Johanna, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Lizzie. So next we're talking about the elections. And just a few reminders before I introduce the candidates. So the board of directors is made of 9 directors that are elected by owners, and the term is for 3 years. All the positions are at large, so there is no specific affiliation by store between Rochester and La Crosse. And for 2022, we have 3 open seats, and we have 4 wonderful candidates. 2 of them are incumbents. Next, please. So here are the 4 candidates for 2022. Lana Christian, Andrea Nison, Verna Simon, and Megan Southwick. So we will introduce them to you by playing their video. And remember, you can select 3 out of those 4 candidates.
Go ahead. Okay, just Okay, I apologize.
Sorry, folks, technical difficulties. We're gonna fix this in just a second.
One moment here.
Okay, how's that? Okay, I think we got this. Sorry, folks. We're gonna try this one more time. Thanks for your patience.
I'm Lana Christian, a local business owner, and I am passionate about everything that Peoples stands for. The first time I walked into Peoples, I was struck by how courteous and caring all the staff were, regardless of their position. That and great organic food kept me coming back despite rising food prices. So the variety of foods were really good. But what was extraordinary about Peoples was the staff. And for that reason, I'm really excited to see that the board of directors is interested in serving the employees' needs as well as the communities. Now, I want to ensure that continues. Obviously, we need more reasons to bring people into the food co-op and keep them coming back. But it also means being an influencer, being part of the community at large and its growth. For example, like Rochester's business redevelopment downtown. It also means forging stronger ties with local growers, regional suppliers, and also People's distributors. Now, I'm a small business owner, and in the past 16 years, I've had to reinvent myself several times to stay afloat. For example, I got really good at grant writing when one large segment of my business dried up. That kind of reinvention involves equal parts vision and grit. I'm excited to see that People's Food Co-op Board of Directors has used both to help people survive and thrive, especially through the COVID pandemic. Now, before I became a small business owner, I worked in large hospital systems, multi-site systems. And part of my job was to find out-of-the-box solutions for unmet needs and leverage resources in new ways. I'll give you 2 examples of that. Internally, I led an initiative that reduced entry-level employees' turnover by 50% and put them on career paths they could be proud of. Externally, I co-led an initiative to reach out to at-risk high school students who were interested in healthcare careers. And we provided them with an immersive 6-week summer experience to help get them on the right path, thinking about what they were going to do after high school. And I'm excited to say that I still hear from a few of those students. And yes, they did go into healthcare careers. As far as my work ethic goes, I never censor myself when I'm brainstorming, and can't is probably my least favorite word of the English language. I'll either find a way or I'll make a way. And I'm good at asking the right kinds of questions, and I think I'm a fast learner. So all of those qualities should serve the board well. By now, you've probably noticed the nondescript, unflattering wall behind me and the less than ideal lighting. We don't have a lot of color going on. You know, none of those qualities are very good for videotaping. But, you know, it also reminds us that most of life happens under less than ideal circumstances. And it also promotes more creative problem solving. So I'm up for that challenge, and I look forward to creative problem solving with you. Thanks for sharing a bit of your time with me.
Hi, I'm Andrea Nison. As a current PFC board member, I'm running for a 2nd term. I wear many hats: attorney with Clampy Law Firm by day, and wife and mom in a family that loves healthy, whole, gluten-free foods. A celiac diagnosis in our family years ago enriched our lives in so many ways. I'm also active with Make-A-Wish and Family Service Rochester through volunteer time and executive board membership. The co-op embraces my values. I care about my community, food, and the future of the PFC. Most importantly, I want the co-op and its mission to be here for my kids when they are adults and future generations. Please vote for Andrea. Thank you for your vote.
Hi, my name is Verna Simon, and I am running for a seat on the board of directors at your People's Food Co-op. This last few years has really been difficult for the co-op and the community at large. And I do think that the co-op, although we've had to go through some really hard times, has come out of it fairly in good shape. Generally speaking, we've done a lot and it's been difficult, but with the help of the community and the help of the employees who have been really steadfast in what they've been able to do, we've survived and we've come through this. We have a long way to go. There's a lot more to do, but we really thank you so much for all of your support. I'm coming to you to ask for your vote. I am again running again, and I'd like to continue to support the co-op in its mission of bringing you local producers, fair trade and organic products, earth-friendly products, supporting Lizzie and her staff. We want to continue to do this good work, to grow the co-op and make it stronger. A lot of that strength is going to come from our diversity in our communities. And I'd really like to continue with our diversity and inclusion efforts to expand who belongs to the People's Food Co-op. We have great products, we have a great space, and we want to include as many people in our community as possible. This is not just for the sake of checking a box. Checking boxes doesn't do much, but doing real work, it does a lot, and we can achieve a lot. It will help our financial bottom line if we include more people, but also it will help the community at large. We will bring in new producers, people from diverse backgrounds that could really give us good products to sell. It will help with employment. We will bring in new employees from a variety of backgrounds, and that can only help the community. And also new ownership and more shoppers. And that, again, helps our bottom line to expand who considers the co-op their home. I thank you so much for your support throughout this whole pandemic, throughout these last 4 to 5 years even, as the co-op has gone through a number of changes. And again, I ask for your vote. But please, just continue to shop, continue to come to the co-op, continue to support the co-op in all variety of ways. We thank you so much for all you've done already. And I thank you for your time now. And I invite you to join us on December 9th for our meeting, our annual meeting, so that you can really see where we go with this. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan Southwick, and first off, I just wanted to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really excited to potentially join this board. A little bit about me, I am local to this area. I grew up in Byron, Minnesota, and moved to Concordia College in Moorhead for a mass communication and journalism degree. And then soon after that, moved to San Francisco for about 5 years. And that's really where I fell in love with sustainable, whole, high quality foods. The vibrancy of the farmers markets there, the availability and accessibility of those foods just really changed my whole outlook on the way I consume personally. Once I moved back to Minnesota in 2015 and 16, I began working in downtown Rochester at organizations like the Chamber of Commerce, the Rochester Downtown Alliance, and One Discovery Square in the events world, as well as partnerships and just overall community building. I also have 2 boys. My oldest is 8 and my youngest is almost 2. And my partner Logan and we just moved to a house in the Elton Hills neighborhood, and we're really loving every minute of it. Why I want to run for the board. I want to run for this board because not only am I an advocate for this organization and what it stands for, I truly believe that when we shop at our local co-ops, we are changing the way we as an entire community consume, and supporting organizations like this, like the co-op, that provide communities with food they otherwise might not have access to. I think that's really important. And I also have just a passion for spreading that message. In addition, I think the co-op has many opportunities for growth that I'm really personally excited about, particularly in identifying how to uniquely position itself in the market as the pillar and primary resource for health and wellness. I think this community is longing for someone to stand out in that arena, and I think the co-op can provide a lot of experiences, events, catering services, and things like that that could really make a great impact. And I also think there are definitely ways we can connect the overall brand to the consumer at a much stronger rate. And I also think I'd be able to contribute in many ways to the overall challenges that retail spaces are facing, both pre and post pandemic. So I'm just really excited to be potentially a part of this organization, and I'm honored to have this opportunity, and elected or not, I will continue to support the co-op and everything that it stands for. So thank you so much, and I will hopefully talk to you soon.
Good evening. If you can hear me, I just want to make sure to get everyone on here that is listening to go vote. The deadline's this coming Monday, that's December 13th at 10 p.m. And we are a cooperative member owned, so your vote counts. Spread the word. We want to see voters turn out. We have 4 great candidates here. Ultimately, just go vote by 10 p.m. this coming Monday.
All right, so I am next up on for the People's Food Co-op Community Fund. The PFCCF is a 501c3. It was established in 2003. The fund, the PFC raises funds through such endeavors as the former Beans for Bags, and also some fundraisers, direct member contributions, and retired member donations. It is a permanent endowment, and unlike other foundations or endowment funds, the PFC Community Fund is invested in co-ops, not in the stock market. The interest earned is used by the fund to issue grants. The fund's mission is to provide supplemental or project-specific funding to local nonprofit organizations that have missions that are consistent with the PFC. Each year, a selection team of employees and board members review the applications, discuss the contenders, and select the applicants that will receive the grants. During the selection process, priority is given to grant requests for educational projects, developmental projects, and events that have a focus on food and food systems, health and well-being, cooperative education, nutrition, sustainable agriculture, and social change. The selection team also looks for applicants that express a well-defined plan for the funds and a willingness to report back on how the project went and how the funds were used. The PFC Community Fund seeks to support organizations in both Rochester and La Crosse. Over the years, the PFC Community Fund has been able to support garden projects, community health programs, and farm-to-table programs. And this year we considered 20 applicants and we selected 3 organizations to receive grants. The first one was the Rochester Farmers Market Power of Produce. That is a program that empowers kids to make healthy food choices by receiving a token each week of the summer farmers market to purchase a fruit or a vegetable of their choice. The second recipient was Revolutionary Earth. That is an organization designed to alleviate food insecurity through food deliveries to new immigrants, refugees, and people of color by delivering a weekly produce box for free within 24 hours of harvest. The grant was requested to specifically allow the program to expand the food boxes to include bread, eggs, and milk for recipients. And then the third recipient was CIA SIAB, a child care center in Crosse that desired to build an outdoor space to allow their bilingual and bicultural pre-K children to spend time with their elders to learn about the culture, in part through gardens of traditional food and medicine. And it was an honor to sit on the selection team this year, as selection panel this year, and we look forward to continuing to support local organizations in the future through the Community Fund. And now I'm going to turn it over to Verna for some closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I really appreciate it. And thanks again to everybody for logging on tonight. So I was tasked with giving a talk about staying positive. And, you know, that's easier said than done some days, right? But I do think that we have a lot to be thankful for. And, you know, if I think about all the things that are difficult still, we still have issues with COVID, where we still have, it's not going away yet, right? We still have issues with rising food costs and rising gasoline costs and things like this. We're still dealing with environmental issues. We're still dealing with inequities in our society. And we're still dealing with a kind of a feeling of being disconnected from each other because of COVID and because of all these other problems. And so there's a lot that we have on our plates, basically. We're worried often, maybe too often. But what we saw tonight and what we've been hearing from our owners, our staff, and just other community members who pass through the co-ops and shop at our stores, you know, basically people do have a forward-thinking kind of positive way of looking at things. We are looking toward the future. Things are looking a little bit better, just little bits here and there, but that's enough. That's important, and that's a good thing, actually. You know, some of the things that we can do at the co-op by supporting the co-op is kind of to support the community overall. You know, we can think in terms of, as Lizzie had talked about earlier, how the co-op is helping the community to stay safe from COVID, trying to keep, you know, people properly masked and things, having gloves and hand sanitizer around. You know, a lot of customers came to me, and I'm sure some other board members as well, that said, you know, they felt comfortable shopping at the co-op because it felt like a comfortable and clean space. And they were very specific to say that. They said, yes, you know, this is what we care about. So that's a big help, and that's something that we can really be thankful for and kind of think about in a positive way. The other thing is that, you know, we're trying really hard to kind of keep prices at a good level without being, you know, without kind of cutting short our producers, right? That we have to give them a fair price, but we don't want to outprice our customers. And so that's a balance. It's always a very tricky balance, but I think that Lizzie and her staff are really doing a good job at that. And we'll continue to support that because that is important, that we always want to do our best to, you know, kind of keep everybody focused and moving forward and try to, you know, help them out as best they can out of their wallets. We also want to be able to support our staff, and so having good money set aside, saved, and putting it into our staff and putting it into bonuses and benefits and better pay. That's important as well. And so that's something also that we can really feel good about and think in terms of that being a positive, that being a good thing, certainly. We're going to continue to address environmental issues, and that's some of the things that we talked about as well. Kind of upgrading and updating equipment, making it more efficient, thinking in terms of how we are efficient in our energy use as well, just in general with lighting and refrigeration, those kinds of things. All of that's important and all of that counts. And I know that work is always going on. So that's something you can see, you know, as the stores improve. And then also thinking about community, that kind of encompasses a lot of stuff, right? And that encompasses thinking in terms of inequalities, you know, bringing in new producers and bringing in new staff, but also bringing in new customers and bringing in more community members, reaching out to folks. Andrea just talked about the grant program that we have, kind of sending money out into the community to help those in need, but also to help those with really good ideas, right? You know, these are people who have some really great ideas about how to improve their communities. And so this is something that we're always doing, always working on. And what we want to do into this new year from the board's perspective is kind of reach out to you as owners and have you join us in this, right? You know, we're kind of ready to do this nice work. I mean, again, unfortunately, COVID's not over yet, but we're getting a little bit closer to being able to do a little bit more in person and meet up with people and be a part of just kind of community events, co-op sponsored events. So we want to be a part of that with you. And we would really ask you and even challenge you to join us in that, to help out with that, to bring more people in, and to kind of to get our community back, right? You know, to kind of bring people back together and come together in the co-ops spaces and kind of raise it up a little bit. I mean, kind of be engaged again, right? Get to know each other again, get to build this community again. I think that's something that we'll all be really ready to work toward in 2022. And so I do think that, yeah, we can stay positive. There are things to look forward to. And I thank everybody for all the good work they've already done and all the support that we get as a store, as a group, that the community has really stayed very strong, and that's good and that's important. And so we're really thankful for that. And there are lots of reasons to stay positive, even with a lot of the dark clouds out there. So we can do this. We're going to stay positive into 2022, and we're going to bring great things to you. And we ask you to be a part of that as well. So I thank you so much. Let's see who's next. Are there any questions, any comments? I think we're heading toward the end here.
You can ignore that.
Not a problem. No, not at all. Does anybody have any? I'm going to check on the chat here to see if anybody has anything here to mention. Oh, that's fine. These are folks asking questions about voting. So yes, if you voted already, then you're all set. If you have not voted yet, you have until this coming Monday. So until December 13th at 10 p.m. to cast your vote. That's online. If you have already voted though, you're all set. And thank you very much for taking part in that. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Oh, thank you very much, Beth. So yeah, we have actually Eleanor, yeah, I thank you. We appreciate the support from everybody in the community, and thank you so much. I think Jossie was on a little bit earlier as well, so thank you. for logging on and for commenting and for being involved and active with us. So we really do appreciate everything that everybody is doing. Ooh. Oh, I guess I can announce. So Perrin has informed me there are 2 raffle winners, Carol Fitzgerald and Lana Christian. So yes, I just announced, so that's good. Congratulations. This is great. So thanks so much for that, Perrin. That's awesome. And thanks everybody for participating in that. That's great.
Are we gonna put there? Sorry, okay.
That's okay.
We could put the gift cards on their owner account,
That's true. That's true.
possibly.
I
think-
reach out to them with
I
more
think-
details.
Yeah, we'll reach out to each of you with more details.
Yeah,
But
no,
also
that's
just
great.
spoiler that anyone can put money on your owner account.
Yes.
And it acts like cash whenever you're shopping. You can just have the money there and no need to worry about making sure you've got a different payment method with you.
That's true. That's true. And I use it frequently. It works very well. So yeah, it's awesome. All right. Well, if anybody
Any
else
other
has-
questions or comments from folks?
looking at the- Well, thank you very much, Rhonda. Thank you.
Verna, you are muted.
I am not on my side, at least.
But I want to thank everybody for coming and also know that if you've got any other questions or comments that came up for you, you can email me or email the board. And there's all that's on the website or in the Garlic Press magazine that just came out this week. And I think with that, we can end our meeting.
Yes. Excellent.
Have a great
Thank
evening,
you.
everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.